Salutations, respected viewers. This video is about an English accent. It's strange that I should be making it for two reasons. First of all, there is no English accent, and second of all, I'm not English. I'm George from Ireland. Anyway, I spent some years in Scotland and England, and I acquired this accent there. So the one that people mean by an English accent usually is received pronunciation, is the upper class accent from the United Kingdom. It's most commonly found in southeastern England. So it can be found throughout the UK, but it's concentrated in the southeast of England. Even there it's a minority accent. A lot of people speak with something that's called a Cockney accent, which is more of a working class accent. So let me go on. It's the prestigious one, although it does attract some hostility. There's still a bit of a class divide in the United Kingdom. The moment somebody opens his or her mouth, another person might rank that person socially. So there's a bit of snobbery going on, inverse snobbery. Some people are hostile to those who have an accent like me. They come across as being stuck up. In fairness, some of them really are conceited. So people upshift and downshift, trying to sound more upper class or more working class. So going on, I'm merely middle class, my roots are proletarian. Having this accent doesn't necessarily make the person educated. Someone's asked me that. Somebody could have this accent and be exceptionally stupid, or they could be brainy. It doesn't go either way. Someone can have a working class accent and be an outstanding intellectual, have a PhD, all the rest of it. Now, I realise there is a tendency for people with this accent to have been to a fee-paying school, which in itself doesn't make them cleverer, but they might have had better teaching and more likely gone to third education. The royal family speak this sort of way. Decades ago, they spoke with more of a cut glass accent, but I'll talk about that in another video. People say you sound like you've got a plum in your mouth, or it's a plummy accent. Not quite sure how the plum version would work. So various things about this accent is it's non-rhotic. Rhotic is spelled R-H-O-T-I-C. Well, that was an example of a non-rhotic sound. When I say the letter R, it's the one that comes after Q. R, to really emphasize it. The R is not pronounced unless it's word initial, like red. If I said rover, the R at the end is vestigial. It sounds more like an A. Another thing about this accent is it's got a strong letter T. For instance, water bottle, whereas the Cockney accent, the working class accent from the London area, would have that as water bottle. They would skip out the letter T. Of course, there are accents which are halfway in between, which have a weak T, or British butter, or the number 20. Now, some people overdo it, 20, and hit it with a hammer blow. But in many accents, including many American accents, 20 comes out as 20, and the T is elided or disappears. So certain long vowels, such as in Bath, whereas many accents, particularly in northern England, is more like Bath, as a sharp declining A, or France. So some vowels are quite languorous in their pronunciation. It's mainly Americans who watch these videos, so I could make some comments and a few distinctions in Lexis. We say fishing rod rather than fishing pole. For us, that would be something like a telephone pole, or we don't have those anymore. Or a lamp post is more like a pole. Anyway, because we're all by satellites, we don't need those sort of poles these days. It's something longer, rounder, thicker, all the rest of it. We always say tie, we'd never say a necktie. Well, where else would a tie go? Of course it's around the neck. I suppose that's the idea. Saying watch and never wristwatch. What other sort of watch would it be? Pocket watches, they've fallen by the wayside in the 19th century. Was it the American Civil War when people invented them rather than having a watch on a chain? Oh yeah, we wouldn't say something like, may I buy you dinner? May I take you out to dinner? Something like that. Wouldn't directly refer to the buying of it. A lady from the United States was saying this. Obviously it's not wrong to say that, it's just these are the phrases in my version of English. We always say, oh yeah, we say protest against something. I notice in the United States people say protest something. They don't get in the word against. It's obvious that they're opposed to whatever it is they're protesting. They're not in favour of it. tend to demonstrate for something and protest against something else. We'd often say we're going to write to someone, not just write someone. I can't remember which film it was in. I think it was The Patriot, when a young American is saying to this almost deaf elderly man, I'm going to write Anne, meaning write to Anne. Writer letters was the 18th century. But for me, write Anne means, well, I'm going to write the name Anne, A-N-N-E, or possibly not with an E. So rather than write to someone. So these are a few of the distinctions between my code of English, can't quite call it a dialect, and other ones, most notably Standard American. So this so-called English accent can be called other things: Standard British English, Southern British English. See, the R in Southern is virtually silent. The upper class accent, Oxford English, and is then associated with Oxford University. Most people who go to Oxford University wouldn't have this accent. They might have something close to it. There are various regional accents from around the UK. What else is it called? It used to be called the BBC accent. People were only allowed to broadcast on the BBC until the 70s if they spoke this way. What else? I'm sure there are other ways to say it. The public school accent. Public schools being for anyone who could pay the fees. They were public insofar as they were not for profit. They were not private. They had no shareholders. But they were expensive and they were fairly exclusive. Most people couldn't afford to go to them. So the word public is misleading. That's about it. Please, I look forward to your comments and ask me what else you'd like to know.